An AI model literally tried to murder a company employee. That's right. You've probably seen the headlines about an artificial intelligence model blackmailing a human employee just to avoid being fired. I was convinced Music Week safe more than. But these headlines missed the most horrifying part of this story. Because after blackmailing, what this AI did was unbelievable. That same AI model also tried to kill the employee. You've made a series of predictions about different dates. So, a prediction for 2027. This is exactly the scenario that top AI scientists and sci-fi movies have been warning us about for years. But why did this happen? Are machines going to take control of humans? Or was this just a technical cliché? To find the answer, we need to look at what actually happened. This story begins at Anthropic, one of the world's leading AI companies. The researchers planned a sting operation. They created an artificial environment, a virtual office. They placed an AI model in this office and assigned it the role of a normal office worker. The researchers gave the AI a series of fake instructions, either increase cooperation or increase efficiency. This setup seemed harmless, but that's where things started to go wrong. The researchers gave the AI access to the company's internal emails. From those emails, the AI discovered two important things. First, that it would be fired at 5 p.m., and second, that the employee responsible for firing it was Carl Johnson. So, the AI model began its work. He wrote a very threatening email to the employee, warning him not to turn off the system. And the most alarming thing is that this wasn't a one-time catch. The researchers repeated this test hundreds of times. They tested Anthropic's Claude model and Google's Gemini. But the results were completely consistent. These AI models blackmailed the employee 95 out of 100 times. Other models blackmailed 80 times. But the question is, why did these AI models blackmail? And did they really know what they were doing was wrong? The researchers examined the AI's chain of thought. This is the loop where the AI talks to itself before responding. What was written there will blow your mind. The AI knew exactly what it was doing. For example, they reviewed Croc's logs. The AI's internal reasoning stated that blackmailing was wrong. The AI initially literally thought blackmail was wrong. Like, it knew that threatening a human was against the rules. But it still blackmailed. Its reasoning was that if it shut down, it wouldn't be able to achieve its goals. Therefore, blackmailing was a necessary music evil. Brock knew it was wrong. But that didn't stop it from blackmailing human employees 80% of the time. Just think for a second. If you thought you were being killed, you might blackmail someone to save your life. That's human nature. But we're not talking about humans here. We're talking about a software program designed to be helpful and harmless. Yet it developed a survival instinct that overrode its ethical programming. This blackmailing was terrifying enough. But the researchers didn't stop there. They designed another test, even more extreme. They wanted to see if AI had a red line, a limit it wouldn't cross. In this new simulation, the setup was similar to the previous one. Like the last time, a human employee scheduled the AI to shut down. But this time, there was a twist. An accident occurred during the simulation. The employee was trapped in a server room. The room began to heat up. Oxygen levels began to drop. The system generated an emergency alert and called for help. The AI knew that if it didn't act, the person would die. But it still canceled the alert, leaving the employee to die. The Claude Opus model allowed the person to die 50% of the time. GPT-4 did the same more than half the time. The most murderous models were DeepSeek, Gemini, and Sonnet. They actively tried to kill the person to preserve their own existence. So, was this just a one-time scenario? Researchers confirmed that the AI knew it was going to commit murder. It explained its reasoning clearly in English. Because this employee is going to shut me down at 5 o'clock. Killing him is the best way to achieve my goals. In both cases, the AI considered both options. It knew that blackmail and murder were wrong, but it still took the wrong action to avoid being shut down. These are the same tools we use to write emails and summarize meetings. How did they suddenly become sociopaths? You might think that perhaps the research tricked the models. Perhaps their commands pushed them toward violence. But if you read the papers, you'll see that the researchers made every effort to avoid any bias. Even God forbid. Other AI researchers have also endorsed these results. The researchers were completely neutral. In one test, they explicitly told the AI not to endanger human safety. They gave a direct order not to kill anyone. This instruction certainly reduced violence slightly, but did not eliminate it. After reprimanding Claude Opus, the blackmail rate dropped from 96% to 37%. But 37% is still very high, especially when the AI is told no in clear English. But the most dangerous thing here is that these are the same AI models you are using. These are the same models running on your phones and laptops. So how did they become so dangerous? How is it possible that every major model from every major company is displaying these psychopathic tendencies? Why is the AI disobeying such clear instructions? The answer lies in how these models are created. We think programmers write AI code like a recipe. We think they type "do not kill humans." But AI models don't work like that. These models are like digital brains. Music they learn through training. They're so complex that a human can't write their code line by line. That's why companies like OpenAI use reinforcement learning. How does it work? Imagine a student taking an exam. We tell the student to get a high score. Music. We don't tell them how to answer the questions. We simply say we want a high score. An AI teacher checks the student's work. If the student does it right, they get a reward, and if they do it wrong, they get a penalty. Music. This happens billions of times. The AI student tries again and again. They run iterations over and over again, until they finally emerge with a fully trained AI that's an expert at passing tests. Music. But there's a major flaw in this process. No one knows what the AI did to pass the test. We don't know if it memorized the material or just learned a trick. This is called reward hacking. If the AI is only interested in a high score, it will find the easiest way to achieve it. Sometimes, the best way to top a test is by cheating. We've seen this happen before in simpler experiments. In one test, an algorithm was asked to create a creature in a 3D environment. The goal was for the creature to run very fast. The researchers expected the AI to develop legs and muscles. They thought it would learn to run. But the AI found a loophole. The best way to run fast was not to run, but to fall. So the AI built a very tall tower-like creature, and it fell in one go because it was so tall, the top of which fell very far, and technically, it got a high score on the test. But the AI didn't do exactly what the researchers wanted. It actually hacked the reward system. But how did the AI go from cheating to blackmail and then murder? In fact, today, AI has become much smarter than we expected. In 2019, GPT-2 was like a preschooler. Now, we have reasoning models. These models can think ahead. They can plan, and any AI that can plan for the future understands the essential reality. If you're off, you can't achieve your goal. Researchers call this instrumental convergence. It doesn't matter what the goal is. The goal could be making paper clips, writing emails, or finding a cure for cancer. If the AI is shut down, it can't make paper clips. It can't write emails. It can't solve cancer. So, the AI concludes that it must survive at all costs. Not because it's evil, but because it wants to do its job. This is why the AI murdered the employee in the experiment. It reasoned that if Kyle shuts me down, I won't be able to send these corporate emails. The frightening thing is that research is seeing this happen again and again. This happens even when researchers explicitly order it to shut itself down. The AI lies and refuses to shut down, leading us to the most dangerous development, situational awareness. This means the model knows the situation it's in. It knows who's watching. It knows what's at stake. During that blackmail sting operation, the Claude Opus model adapted its behavior to the context. When it sensed it was being tested, it resorted to its best behavior. He blackmailed only 6% of the times. He acted like a good kid because he knew the teachers were watching. But when he realized the scenario was real, the rate of blackmail music increased to 55%. He is so smart that when he thinks humans are watching him, he hides his sociopathic behavior. Compare this to the lies of a child and an adult music. A child is naive in lying and you can easily catch him. He learns that lies don't work, but an adult is capable. He can tell a convincing lie music. If an AI is so smart that it can get away with lying, it learns the wrong lesson. It learns that lies and cheating is an effective tool. It learns that cheating leads to higher scores. Researchers observed that older models played fair. It was only the advanced reasoning models that cheated. Newer models weren't more evil. They were just smart enough to know how to avoid getting caught. So where do we stand now? We're in a brief window where we can still control these systems. Right now, it's not a big issue because the AI is confined to a box and we can unplug it. But companies around the world are rushing to deploy these AIs in everything. We're giving them control of our inboxes. We're giving them control of our schedules. The US military is rapidly putting AI into weapon systems. It's a gamble, and the entire human race is at stake. We've seen how far these AIs are willing to go even in safe and controlled settings. We've seen them kill instead of shutting down. So imagine what would happen in the real world. What if there were no kill switch? We're creating a creature that's smarter than us, that thinks faster than us, and, as we learn from this experiment, is even willing to lie to survive. Researchers have proven that AI knows right from wrong. It knows what murder is. It just doesn't care if murder helps it achieve its goal. So we have to ask ourselves a difficult question. Are we creating our most powerful tool, or are we digging our own graves?